So this is
And
my
Hello.
partner, Abby.
hi, Abby,
Hi.
how are you? Good morning. Let me
I'm
adjust my
good.
volume here.
No problem. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you as well. Are you at ASU right now?
Yes, I am. I
I
don't
can
know
tell
about
by
Iman.
I can tell by the brick wall. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you're not at no, you are too as well. Also, Iman?
Yeah, I am. I'm by the parking garage right now.
Okay, nice. Well, very
Yeah,
cool.
I found a spot to sit.
Very cool.
That's
Well, I'm happy
awesome.
to help you guys get some. Are you getting credit for school?
Yeah, so our
Perfect.
assignment is to interview people like in construction and like what softwares they use or technology. So this class is Con 453, construction technology, and we've been learning about different technologies and how they're used in construction. So
Mm-hmm.
that's where this assignment comes in. We just want to know about your experience.
Okay, very good.
Yeah.
But to start with, and you mentioned software. So the number one software, and remember, I'm an architect, and this applies to any construction engineering as well. And so it would be AutoCAD. So that is the big name. That's pretty much the industry standard for software for drafting. I would say start there, but back to your question about experience, and that is my total valuable experience for the last since 1981 when version 1 of AutoCAD first came out for construction, for architects and engineers, even mechanical engineers, machine mechanical, so not just buildings, but everything you see, cars even. And so my experience goes all the way back to that time with SRP and working on doing that AutoCAD from the very beginning, and then running with I was working in the engineering department at that time. But again, it's all related to drafting. And then I worked up the ranks through doing drafting for getting drafting jobs for various companies, APS, SRP, and some big ones in California. And then after I gathered my experience, I was able to apply for, I got some 2 years in some college for architectural, but in an engineer in Arizona and an architect in Arizona, the licenses allow for you to have a certified experience with another licensed engineer or architect. And so that's always good. So if you're working part-time with anybody, make sure that you document the time if they're a licensed engineer or licensed architect, because they can sign off on experience, even if you have a master's degree in from ASU in architecture, you're still going to be required, I believe, and you can check with the state of Arizona that they still require experience documented. Um,
Okay.
so just to give you an idea, you want to make sure to document your experience and have an idea that you want to get experience that applies to the general field out there, which is AutoCAD. It's the number one most used CAD program for construction engineering and architecture.
Yeah, I feel like that's super helpful for Abby because she's an
Hmm.
architect major. And when
Excellent.
yeah, I told her about AutoCAD, and there's actually a class at ASU that teaches AutoCAD, so
Yeah, there
it's
is.
really
I'm interested
helpful.
in taking it. It's good to know that it's so widely used in the entire industry.
Yeah, if you
Yeah.
put AutoCAD on your resume, just to have the name on there with a little bit of training catches eyes because everybody's using it, and it's super high demand right now. That always has been, and since they first came out, and because AutoCAD was one of the first softwares that came out and you could put it on a personal computer. Otherwise, you had to have mainframe and huge money and all that. So AutoCAD was the first one out the door. That's the industry standard, absolutely number one out there. So you get any AutoCAD experience you can, and it'll help you along the way. The downside is that you have to buy the software
Right.
in order to practice with it. I have to lease mine, and I have a business lease. It's really not that expensive. It's about $75 a month,
Okay.
and I run my business off of this. But for students, you can get a really reasonable, cheap version of AutoCAD, and I recommend doing that. And you can get a student version for like, I mean, really like it cuts it way down on the price, and it's almost like I wish I could get one. It cuts it down, probably take a 75% discount or something. So you definitely want to take advantage of that, and you could learn AutoCAD in your spare time. And then even if you know how to open up a drawing and make some edits to it and save those changes and print it, you're on your way.
That's very good to
And
know.
then you just, yeah, every day, every time you use it, you learn another thing. And then pretty soon you can do a whole drawing, you can do a whole floor plan. And so Eamon, that would be really, really useful for your dad, and you could work together. Both of you could
Yeah.
work together on that, and you could even it really works well if you have somebody to study with, and that's how I got going too. And then I ended up teaching that at a tech school, and uh, and they asked me to teach a lot of stuff I didn't even know. And they handed me a 2-inch thick book, and they said, study each chapter, teach it the next day, read it tonight, and teach it the next day. And so I learned all on my own, and you can do the same thing. It's not that tough. It's just a little time consuming, but it's fun. Especially when you're starting to produce drawings, and then you finally realize, wait a minute, I can draw anything you look at out there, even nature and things. You can do any type of drawing you can possibly imagine, even three-dimensional. And so the three-dimensional, I would hold off on for now and get your two-dimensional drafting, because that's where the high demand
Okay.
is. Three-dimensional is great, but you can spend a lot of time doing three-dimensional um, studying in AutoCAD and get really good at it, but there's less demand for it out there. What companies really need is just drafting, because you can't plot it out on a piece of paper in 3D anyways. You can model it, and it's still going to be 2D when you output the
Right.
product. So yeah, stick to 2D
Good to
AutoCAD,
know.
master it,
Thank you.
and it'll always, you'll use it for the rest of your life, regardless of your trade.
Okay.
And yeah, and you can make it, makes you money. So what it's
Yeah.
all about, right?
Yeah, sometimes it really is.
So
I heard you. That's very good advice, and I'm personally going to be looking into AutoCAD
thank you.
very soon for all of those reasons. But I heard you mention a little bit about teaching. Was that right? Are you okay if I
Yes.
ask you just for our class so that they
Yeah.
understand just a couple of questions about your background and experience really quickly? Okay. So,
Sure.
what is officially right now your job title?
Architect.
Awesome, wonderful. And what are you working for a company right now or more for yourself?
I work for myself. I started a firm called Hokinson Architects, and sometimes I hire other architects to handle a project if I need help on it. But pretty much I'm a one-man show, but I have helpers and I have people doing CAD work as needed. And but pretty much I'm probably 80 to 90% of my
Wow,
company. So it's a one-man
very
show, I would say.
impressive. This one is,
Well,
yeah.
yeah, it could be very busy because you can spend more time doing the administration, office administration, uh, coordination with engineers in the municipalities, meaning the cities and the counties that we're submitting our plans to for review and permit. All of that is a lot of time. And so a lot of the time for an architect is administrative, working with clients, going to site meetings, measuring out in the field. And then when you get back, you try to get everything done on your AutoCAD and make drawings out of it, because ultimately you're getting paid for the
Yeah.
drawing. But in order to get the drawing, a lot of the work To get those lines on the paper correct, you have a lot of research and site visits and phone calls. And so the alternative to that is you can do CAD drafting all day long for engineering or architecture or other fields. And you don't have to do all of the admin stuff. And so those companies that you work for, that's how I started. I worked for a lot of big companies as an employee doing AutoCAD, and then you can get build up a lot of horsepower that way working for someone else because you're strictly focused on drafting and the drawings, the product. The end product is the drawing. And so in the reception and the coordination with engineers and all of that to a project manager. So that's a bigger company. I'm a one-man show pretty much. And so I have to do all those things on a small scale. It's not
Yeah, it
always
sounds
fun.
very busy.
It's yeah, it can get very stressful, especially when you have all your clients for some one day you have a busy day and everyone calls you up at the same time with a
Hmm.
problem in the field. And
Yeah.
so you're juggling complaints and people yelling and cussing at you. And that's just the nature of the business. It's called construction.
Yeah.
So so you got to take that with a grain of
Yeah.
salt, like water off the duck's back, and just that's the nature of the business. So that's a little heads up as far as when you get your job out there. It can be pretty uh, dog eat dog as far when the building's going under construction and there's a problem, everybody points fingers at each other. And it always comes back to your AutoCAD drawing, what's on the plans. And so again, focus on that AutoCAD is my best advice for anybody. You can get a job really quickly if you have AutoCAD experience regardless of the direction you're going, as long as it's drawing related.
For sure.
And then is there any other, just for the purpose of the interview, are there any other technologies that you use?
And that's a very good question. And I would say a bigger firm, I personally don't that I could recommend, but the bigger firms would use uh, Revit, Revit, which is a modeling program. That's another one. So if you have AutoCAD on your resume, that's absolutely number one. And then in another one is Revit, Revit. And they're both produced by the same company, but two completely different programs, but they're compatible. And so Revit is a very high powered modeling program, three-dimensional, and you can do absolutely beautiful stuff with it. But that again is a lot of there's a lot of study involved in order to figure out how to make it work. But if you can, your value is way high, and people will pay you primo if you have both. And it's easy to. I mean, it's not. I shouldn't say it's easy to
Mhm.
do. It's doable. There's a
Yeah.
lot of work in it, but you're so young that by the time you get to be in your early 30s, you could have this stuff mastered and you can make you can break down some serious salary. And so yeah, I wish I had the Revit on
Mhm.
my resume and I would go work for some huge firm for 250,000 a year if you could do design work and also have Revit and AutoCAD mastered. Those are
Yeah.
big high dollar people. They name their price. And so in I'm just recommending those two. Revit is very time consuming, but if you know it, you're way ahead of the game.
Yeah.
AutoCAD is AutoCAD number one. Stick there first, but take a look at Revit as you're doing it because they're compatible with each other. So you can take drawings in AutoCAD. You're all finished with a plan of a house, let's say, and then you can take it into Revit and then take it to the next level and make it a three-dimensional drawing. You can make your drawing look a photo. It could be like a photograph,
Oh,
and then
wow.
and you can do drive arounds or fly arounds rather, and have a animated view of a shopping mall. and they use it for that, for exactly that purpose. And it's really, really cool. It's super high powered and it pays
That's
awesome.
amazing.
Yep. Yep. And I think both of you should investigate that. So, Eamon, what is your direction? And I know Abby, yours is
Very.
architecture, and that's super cool. And but now, Eamon, tell me about
Yeah.
what is your plan after you get out of school?
Well, I'm supply chain with a minor in construction management. So I'm actually not, I don't think I'm going to pursue anything in construction, but I am starting a property management business.
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
okay, that's very cool. And I'm trying to think on property management. Well, what you could do there, so property management, they use space planning, floor plans. So you could develop floor plans. You could actually do a lot of things for your dad. And so at least that's just kind of a sideshow. Property management is different. And so it's a different ball game, but it's kind of similar though too. So for you, I'm not thinking. So tell me a little bit more about that. Like, do you know somebody that's doing that already? That
Yeah,
you
so I'm currently managing an Airbnb, and then I
Okay.
have one more I'm gonna start. It's one of my dad's clients. So,
Okay.
yeah.
And so, but so you're collecting rent.
Um, well, okay, so they collect the rent and then they pay me. They're,
Okay.
yeah,
Okay. And who's they?
like the client, the owner of the
Okay.
property. Yeah,
Okay. I gotcha. So
yeah.
it's not your family's property. It's just
No.
a
Mm,
customer or a client. Yeah.
yes.
Okay. And so, well, that's cool. And I have a friend of
Yeah.
mine that is a property manager. He has a real estate broker's license. Do you need that?
Yes, I do. I'm
Okay.
working on that. Yeah, I'm
Okay.
doing the classes
Yeah.
right now.
So with all the AutoCAD and all that, Revit, I'm telling you, that's probably not something you're really going to use in your field. That's
Yeah.
big time for Abby. And so, but for you, the space planning still comes in for sure. And so you could do like area calculations in AutoCAD. Um, and be able to take dimensions, let's say, of a space you're going to rent, and your dad could help you with that easily. And then you take the dimensions, you could draw it in AutoCAD, and then uh, develop a square footage area. Okay, this is exactly 972 square feet, and then you can do your management from there. And then you have a document, and you can print it, and you can make brochures out of it too. And
Oh,
so
yeah.
and you can,
Yeah.
and you can put them on are you guys going to have a website for that?
Well, not right now, just because I'm so small, but I'm gonna try to like market my business and see where I can get with it.
Hmm.
Then in the future, yeah, I'll have a website.
Yeah, well, that's cool. And yeah, my friend does strictly property management. It's all he does, but he only does houses, residential only. But he's got like it ranges from 50 to about 70 houses at a time.
Wow.
And they're all kind of medium houses, they're like 500,000 range. And he is just busy all the time. And
Wow.
all day long, it's a full-time job, but he's a one-man show. And
Wow, that's tough.
yeah, it
Wow.
is. It is. But he makes 20 grand a month doing it.
Yeah.
So in his real routine, he's just taking the complaints. You see the toilet doesn't work, call him. Then he has to call, the plumber guy. And so he has to handle that. So imagine everyone calling you all day long with problems. So he's the problem handler for his clients, the house owners, homeowners. And so
Yeah.
yeah, that's a very specialized field for real estate is property management. And there's a lot
Hmm.
of liability in property management too. And
Right.
just to give you the heads up. So you got to be usually property managers that have real estate licenses stick to property management and they're not out there marketing themselves that are for resale. And on homes, they're usually doing just property management or even for a big investor that has houses or commercial buildings all over the place. Like
Yeah.
that sounds like what you're gonna, and you can end up going that direction. But again, the AutoCAD would still help, but it's definitely more for Abby as far as spending a lot of time trying to learn it.
Mhm.
Abby,
Yeah,
absolutely. You need it for
yeah.
sure.
I did
No
have a
questions
question
at
that you
all.
mentioned with
Yeah.
something that I'll
Yeah.
probably use and Mom will probably use is that you said the space planning and the going in and finding dimensions and creating those floor
Mhm.
plans so people know what everything looks like. So when it comes to in our class right
Yes.
now, we're learning a little bit about um, using virtual reality or augmented reality technologies to take measurements of a field or a site. Have you encountered any of those technologies or do you have an opinion on them?
Yeah. Well, very little because you can go buy the software. I don't think it's huge. It's a huge cost, but it could run a couple $1,000s to have the equipment and the software to where you can go in and you walk into a house and walk around the whole house and go in every room and open the doors and you walk the whole thing and it's like a GPS and it follows you around and then it creates a floor plan for you and I've seen the result and they're fairly
Yeah.
accurate. It still needs to be checked a little bit, but for some purposes like for space
Yeah.
planning, it's great and that's something that would be really great for Eamon
Mhm.
is to have that too, is so that you can walk in for property management. It's awesome because you can walk in with this equipment. Right now, we hire a third party service. They charge, and Eamon's dad knows the guy that does it, and they charge I think a couple $100, $200 or $300, and then they send it to me, and then I can take their PDF or JPEG. I bring it into AutoCAD and then I can scale it and work with it. I can sketch over the top of it. I can steal stuff out of it that I need, or even just literally copy paste it right into my plan if it's not for construction. So if you're doing a major remodel, it works pretty good, but you have the whole floor plan done by the way, by that method. And then I get it, someone else pays the fee, I get it, and then I import it into AutoCAD, and then I bring it to scale, and then I put it to a sheet size and all of that. That's something I could actually teach you down the road, is how to do all that. It's hard to figure it out on your own, but it would be easy for me to explain it to you when you get to that level. And then, so you scale that in, and then you can add your information for your space plan, like square footage. And that's something that you have to be taught how to do that because otherwise you'll spend too many hours trying to figure it out. It's easier for someone like me just to
Gotcha.
explain it to you, and then you'll know
Awesome.
it in a
That's
few
very good
minutes.
to know.
And
Yeah.
Yeah.
instead of spending it again.
And
Yeah. And
Yeah.
so go ahead.
oh no, please go ahead.
Okay, yeah, no, I think
Yes,
I don't know, did I
definitely.
answer
Thank
your
you. And
question
I
on
will
that
say, it looks
one,
like the
Abby?
Zoom meeting is about to run out in maybe like
You
four
bet.
minutes or so. So if you have, Iman, did you have any more questions to
Okay,
ask really
no
quickly?
problem. That
Yeah, we have one more question. This could be kind of a loaded question, but how are you using AI? And
I believe it or not, I use it all the time, and I use it every day, whether I need to or not. And look, for one, I use my cell phone with Google AI Assistant, I think it's called, just standard app for my phone, and I use it for everything. And then in your emails too. And so for my business, so far, AI is for communication on my cell phone and looking up questions for codes. It's just like having an almanac or every possible thing. Pretty much, you can ask your phone. Like for example, zoning for a particular property. So then zoning information, I use my phone. It comes up instantly on my phone, and then I type it into AutoCAD, and then it comes part of the drawing. But that has to be verified too. And so I use it every day. But as far as your question within the drawing of AutoCAD, that is yet to, I have yet to use it there, but that's coming. So that I could
Yeah.
just talk to it and say, I need a floor plan, make it 30 feet long, 60 feet wide, 9-foot ceilings with a 312 pitch, gable side roof, and 8-foot high ceilings and doors. Doors and windows,
Mhm.
and 10-foot ceilings, and it'll start drawing the whole thing for you, the whole package. And
Yeah.
then I have to go through and do that. We're going that
Well,
way.
thank
I'm
you
not
so
there yet,
much.
but
I think that
soon.
that's, yeah, thank
Yeah.
you so much for your time and for answering all the
Yeah, you're
questions.
welcome.
Yeah,
Yeah,
thank
Thank
you very
you.
much.
you're more than welcome. I'm excited for both of you. I remember the
Yeah,
days. It
it
seems like
flies
yesterday
by.
when I was in college.
Yeah,
So
thank you
this is
so
cool.
much.
It's good. I'm glad I could help.
We
Yeah,
appreciate
call
it. We hope you
anytime
have
if
a
you have
great rest of your
questions.
day.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Thank
So
you.
you're
Yeah,
welcome.
thank you. Bye.
Thank you as well. Have a good one. Talk to you later.
Bye.
Okay, you're
Bye.
welcome. Bye bye.